And we are live. So, welcome everybody. Welcome at Football Webinars. Brian, big welcome to you.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm happy. Really looking forward to the coming hour and a half maybe.
Yeah, we already discussed this. It will be a problem to stay within the time. Just a small test for everybody. If you can hear me, maybe some people that are already here can say in the chat that they can hear us. So that would help. So just a final check if you can hear us. For the people that don't know me, I am Arend-Jan Kranenburg. I'm the founder of Football Webinars. And of course, we have Brian, the head coach of Midtjylland, with us, who will introduce himself a little bit more later on. Let's go over the rules. Like always, you are also in control of this webinar. You decide what you want to learn. So feel free to ask questions anytime. We have put in a little bit of a structure with 3 chapters, but feel free to ask any questions. And what we also said, because this is a very busy schedule for Brian, normally we would talk with coaches before and present present images or videos of the club, but yeah, the schedule of Brian is so crazy these days with, what did you say, 8 games in 25 days? Yeah. So we'll keep it in a Q&A. So we all have to make this a learning experience. And we would also like to know who you are. So I see already people talking in the chat. Everybody can learn. Even Jan is talking in Danish already. So he knows the Danish side, the Danish language. And please put in the chat which club you train, where you're from, what's the country you represent. So we kind of have an impression who was watching. Brian, to you. The word is up to you. Who are you? What did you do as a player? What is your history as a coach?
Yeah, I see you wrote in almost all of my clubs.
Almost. I didn't put them all.
No, but it's also difficult. I've been around for some years. I started my career in a smaller club in Denmark, in Horsens, which is now in the best league in Denmark, and been there for the last several years actually. But at that point, I grew up in an average environment with all my friends, all my family, and so on. Had my senior debut as a 16-year-old in the second division of Denmark. Before I was signed, a small signing to a small club in the best league at that point in '97, called Aarhus Fremad, which is not the most famous club. But
is it still in the Superliga or?
No, they were relegated two seasons after I left, or when I was sold a bit later. But it's a small club in Aarhus, which is so they were the little brother to AGF, if somebody knows that. But we played in the best league a year and a half when I was there, and was sold to Aalborg, which probably is a little bit more familiar to you guys, where I had 4.5 really good seasons up there. Won the championship in my first season, together with the rest of the team, and was looking for a new adventure, and was close actually of signing FC Utrecht. In the summer of 2003, but at the end there was some financial issues, and the deal didn't go through. And
you wanted more money, or what was the issue?
No, actually everything was settled. A week before the season ended, I was actually in Utrecht. I met with the sport director, with the coach. I was at the stadium with the jersey, showing pictures and everything. But at the end, the deal crashed because of I think they picked up an injury in the last game of the season, and they had to buy a new striker, and they could not afford to buy me. So I ended up in Genk in Belgium instead.
Okay. Not
in the summer of 2003. Yeah, it was a good place for me. It was an amazing start of my career abroad. A fantastic club with a lot of good people in the staff, but also the people around the club, very familiar. So I had two of my best seasons in my career in Genk, which led me to the Premier League in 2005,
Yep.
where I had a good season, playing 30 games in the Premier League. But unfortunately, the manager Harry Redknapp and me at that point were not,
The biggest
talking
friends.
this. Well, I think in general we were good friends, but we were not talking the same language. And
Okay.
I had a good season, as I said, played 30 games, and we actually survived the first season in the Premier League. So we did well, but he decided to buy two new right fullbacks in the summer transfer window, and then I knew that it was
Okay. Yeah.
a time to leave, and I went back to Belgium and Club Brugge, where I had two seasons, winning the cup, the Beker van België in. I think it's in 2006 or 7, maybe. I can't remember the exact, but had 2 good years there before I went back to Denmark, and then I was at Vejle, at Midtjylland, and ended my career in a Norwegian club in 2010, where I started my coaching career at Midtjylland
Yep.
in the summer of 2011. First 5 years as an assistant coach. And then I had 1 year in Copenhagen, also the assistant coach for the manager over there. And in 2017, we decided to split and go apart from each other, which gave me nine months off before I returned to Midtjylland in 2018. Again, working as the assistant coach, and was handed the job, permanent head coach in the winter of 19.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you went pretty fast over your coaching career. Spent a little bit more time as your playing career, but you've been an assistant for a long time, almost 9 years, I think, 8 or 9 years before you really made the step to a first team. But straight away to a top club, which is interesting. But you had the experience already for 8 or 9 years.
Yeah, I felt that that it was important to get as much coaching experience as possible before I became a head coach. As I said, I started my coaching career in 2011, which was actually not my big intention, that I wanted to become a coach after my career. If you had asked me, in 2010, I would have said no. I would not be a coach. When I end my career, I would do something else with my life, get some weekends off with my family and some friends. But the head coach of Midtjylland, he was a good friend of mine, and I knew that him and I would be a good match in many aspects, and I knew that he could help me become a good coach. And also I knew that if I wanted to become a coach, I had to start at the highest level possible, which was for me at that point in the Danish Super League.
Yeah.
So at that moment, it was actually an easy decision to become a coach and see how it will go.
Yeah.
And slowly I knew that before I was going to be a head coach, I needed a lot of experience. I think sometimes I see players ending their careers going too fast to become a head coach, because it is a tough job, and in many aspects it's a difficult job where you need to make a lot of decisions, and you need a lot of experience before you can make the right decisions. At the end of the day, of course, it's always individual. I also see coaches with not a lot of experience. They deliver straight away, and that's fair enough. That's how we are different. For me, it was important that I got enough experience and feeling 100% ready for the job when I was being handed it. So I knew that I could perform straight away.
Were you as a player a natural leader, or maybe a player that supported the team more?
I think it's a little bit of both things. First of all, I'm a team player, both as a player but also as a coach. For me, the team is the most important thing in the world. I know I cannot do the job alone. I need obviously very good players, but also a very good staff around me. And it was the same as a player. I like to take responsibility, but I was also the type that I would like to be given the responsibility from the coach at that point. But I was the captain in some games, also in some of my clubs. So I was maybe in a bit a silent leader in some aspects, but not shy to take it if I was being handed it.
Yeah. Okay. Before we move on, I think you maybe forgot that you won 4 championships in the last 5 years.
Yeah, that's true.
Not 1 as a head coach, of course, but 3 as an assistant as well. So
yeah, that's true.
Don't be too modest, I would say.
No, that's true. But yeah, I've been asked these questions, not a lot, but sometimes, and also now with the qualification for Champions League, and of course I'm really proud of the achievements that we've done, and at the end I know also I have a big influence in it, but it means less for me. It really does. For me, it's the team and it's the club, which is the most important thing, and the people that I work with, to see that they and we have success, which gives me the biggest pride and acknowledgement. And then of course I know football is it's also about CV and prices and so on, and of course I'm not blind. I know that a CV where I can put on some championships and a qualification for Champions League can help me in the long term in my career, but in general, I'm just happy that we as a team and as a club have success.
Yeah, I understand. Okay, I think we have a pretty good impression of you, and I kind of already, if you hear your style in this story about the modest coach that is part of a whole instead of points to himself. Let's see who we have as viewers. I see several coaches, Frederic from Aardrijken, probably Belgium. We have a U14 coach, Kubalai, Ebo, which is a regular with us, Jan Faber, who's already starting to talk in Danish, like I said. So maybe, Brian, you can read the first question later on because I cannot read it.
Yeah, it looks like it's a Danish one. Hi, Jan. I'll try to get through it. He's asking about some principles and so on regarding 3-4-3 and 3-5-2.
We'll get into that later, for sure. We have Yuri, a coach from PSV. Well, we have all kinds of coaches here. So yeah, cool that you're all here, and feel free to, like we said, feel free, like Jan already did, to ask questions anytime you want. And if we will get into it later in the presentation, we will say that and don't discuss the question straight away. But we'll make sure we'll answer as much as possible. This is the way we divided the webinar into 3 chapters. So first we're going to go into your playing style, perhaps your personal style, and then the style of the club, your coaching style, which reflects a little bit more of you as a person and the philosophy of Midtjylland. And before we start, to get a little bit of an impression of, well, maybe how Midtjylland wants to play, or I'm not saying they're playing all the time like this, but we're getting an impression. And if you hear correctly, you maybe get a little bit of an impression on how you coach as well. But I'm curious if the viewers will see this or will hear this. Well, they probably will. Let's see. Let's get an impression of your team.
Remember back in the day when you taught me to live and I taught you to pray. We went in the battle together, no matter the weather, we never delayed. You gave me commands, I always obeyed.
Fucking shit out there, stop. Action all the fucking way. Let's get it.
Stop the playing silly games, you never loved me anyway. You should not have let me get away, cause now I'm hunting for my prey. I'm bigger, I'm better, my mind is a weapon. I won't ever let up and try to break me down, and I'ma just get up. They ask me how I did it, I'ma just tell them I rose up. I'm a survivor. Fight for my life. Coming back stronger. I will arise. I'm a survivor. Fight for my life. Coming back stronger. I will arise. Staring at you from afar, analyzing every scar, asking myself how we got here. Remember, this is who we are. I am not here for revenge. I did not come to make amends. Not here to repent for my sins. I just came here to win. I just came here to end. I just came here to fight. Show you everything you said I couldn't be. I became overnight. This for the blood, this is for the tears, this is for my pain, my plight. two walk in, but only one of us is walking out of here. I'm a survivor. Fighting my life. Coming back stronger. I will rise. I'm a survivor. Fighting my life. Coming back stronger. I will rise.
Pretty cool impression, I think. Actually made by your club, by your media department. What do you think when you see this video? Does it reflect the way you work with each other? Does it reflect you a little?
Yeah, I think it does. I think in many aspects it's a good picture of who we are as a club, but also as a team. Because I already said it, for me that the team is the most important thing. Everybody needs to understand that football is a team sport. Of course, with individual qualities and individual personalities and so on. But to shine and to perform and maybe take your career to further steps, then you need to give to the team, and you have to give to each other. If the team performs well, then I'm sure that everybody within the team, they will also deliver and perform at a high level, and then we have the possibilities to win prizes and trophies and get our big dreams in a success.
Do you emphasize towards players and people around you that you can use the club as a stepping stone to maybe Europe's elite? Is that also a goal for you guys?
Yeah, for sure. For me, it is. I'm also the club for sure. That we all know where we are as a club and as a league. The league is definitely not the biggest in Europe, but we know that we can compete at a high level. But also we know that we cannot compete about the best players. So we know that we're a league where we can develop really good players, and then at one point we have to let them go to bigger leagues. Of course, our objective is that we can compete with maybe the Belgian and the Dutch competition, even though the money is bigger south of Denmark. But we do everything we can to raise our level so we also can compete in Europe, for example, the Europa League or Champions League.
Yeah, that's very clear. What I also like is the intensity there that the team was playing, but I kind of liked the intensity you were coaching with as well, which is, I think, probably the basics, maybe a little bit of the style of the club and the playing style, but perhaps you can, we divided the game in, let's say, 3 moments or 4 moments. You have 2 transition moments, of course. Perhaps you can dive into these principles and tell a little bit more.
Yeah, I'll try to keep it as short as possible, because overall, for me, the most important thing is the expression of the team, and not so much regarding formation and tactical things. That's secondary for me. The overall expression is the most important thing for me, so that no matter where we play, who we play, and in which league that we play, if it's in the Danish league or Europe, then our expression is the same.
With expression, you mean what you see on the pitch, right?
Exactly.
The behavior on the pitch.
Yes, exactly. That's the behavior. So for me and for us as a club, it's power. It's being aggressive. Intensity is also a new word that is flying around in modern football.
Yeah.
And then also it's a team spirit for everybody, that you need to work hard for the team. You need to fulfill your individual role for the team aspect, and then afterwards your individual qualities will show.
Yeah.
So for me, that's the most important thing, that as I said, no matter when and how we play, then we're gonna look the same. Then it's my job and our job as the coaching staff to give the players some aspects and some rules or tactical advices in the parts that you're showing here, the attacking way and also the defending way, so we get that expression on the pitch. If we look at it from an attacking perspective, then I think if you want to be aggressive as a team, then it's a good idea to play direct when you can. Not by long passes in the air and for duels, but as often as we can, we play towards their goal.
The principle is looking forward straight away, first touch, open up, looking forward, creating open players in front of you, etc.
Yes, exactly. So I like possession. I like nice football, but I also like efficient football. So when we can, we play forward instead of playing to the side. And it could be in every aspect of the game. It could be from the build-up. It could be from a break of the game, or of course at the end when we attack, then we try to find passes in between, and also at the end, goals are being scored, in the box often. So you need to get the ball in the box as often as we can. We try to go for crosses, deliveries. We fill up the box with a lot of players. So it's a very aggressive mindset that every time we have a possibility, we play forward.
Is there a difference? Because you mentioned cross, we get as much crosses in as we can actually. Is there a different? Yeah, go on.
Yeah, well, in some aspects, the amount of crosses have an impact for sure. We'll get into it a little bit later regarding all the data that we have.
Yeah.
But for sure, I think if you have 40 crosses in a game, I think you have a better possibility of winning the game if you only have 10. Then of course it's about finding the right balance from the players, the right decisions when to bring it into the box. But if you have a possibility and the cross is open, then I expect that everybody knows now the cross is coming. Then we don't play the ball backwards and maybe switch the game or whatever. Then we're wasting time, in my opinion.
There was, before I go on with you, there are some questions, but Ben, we will get into your question for sure when we go to, I think, the coaching style of Brian. Jan, we will take it up a little bit later with the formations. Many score goals out of set pieces. We have a separate slide on set pieces as well, Dion. So we'll get to that for sure. What I wanted to ask you about the crosses, there is a trend that there are not a lot. Well, you hear a lot of coaches saying no early crosses anymore or no long crosses. Do you have an opinion on this?
Yeah, for sure. There's a lot of opinions in every aspect of the game. I think at the end of the day, it depends on your team and what you think is important. So for my team, for example, it could mean a lot that we bring in the crosses, and for others, they don't share the same philosophy. So at the end, for me, it's a philosophy that you think is right or wrong. For sure, there are in the game, and that's also what we're talking about. That there are positions on the pitch that, okay, then we don't throw in the ball, then we maybe keep it and we wait for a better possibility. At the end of the day, it's also about the players to making the right decision. So if there's nobody in the box, then we don't whip in the cross, then we keep the possession. But for sure, I think and I believe that crossing is an important tool, especially our philosophy and our expression of the game. Then it's important to get the ball in the box. Then our club expects that we have the ball a lot of times in the box, because it will show an aggressive mindset and behavior if we talk about it in that aspect. In the contrary, if you only have 10 crosses in the box, then you'll get a different kind of play of the game.
That's true. And does it vary for the strength of the opponent? So do you create less expectations when the opponent is stronger, or it doesn't matter for you?
Of course, the opponent always have a point in the tactical approach from us. So of course, if we see that they have three big guys in the box, then we maybe need to figure out whether we are going for early crosses or it's more the cutbacks or whatever it is. But for sure, the opponent also have an impact in the approach of the game when it comes to the not the set pieces, but the crosses. For sure.
Yeah. Okay. What is? I think attacking is clear. Intensity is very, very important. With intensity, you see a high pace, so you see players that are capable of what.
For me, also the deep runs, the deep passes in behind is also important. And again, it comes back to the whole expression. I think there's a big difference in expression and behavior whether you play the ball to the side or you decide to play forward. Then you send a statement that we want to attack, we want to go forward, we're not just here to keep the ball and pass it nice around, we are also here to attack and try to give a threat on the opponent. And as I already said, with the data perspective, I think if you're a defender and you get 40 crosses against you, when you play against Midtjylland, then you know you need to be on your toes, because one of the two crosses maybe goes wrong, and then you're behind. So that's also, again, that's why I say the expression is important for the club, and then it's my job to make sure that I can give that expression on the pitch, and that's what they value me on. That's how they rate my performance as a coach also.
Yeah, I understand. What is typical if you see the expression of your team when it comes to defending?
It's a little bit the same. I definitely also want a lot of power in my team and intensity. For me, the key to our success and any success in football long term, when you talk championships or for example Champions League qualification, then it's the defense that is the key to success. I'm not in doubt. You need to work hard for protecting the goal, and I mean everybody, also the strikers, our wingers. They're working really, really hard, and they have been a major factor in our success. Not just the four guys in the back and the goalkeeper, but the whole team has been working really hard. And I prefer and like high pressure and aggressive pressure on the opponent's half, all the way to the goalkeeper, trying to win and steal the ball as high as possible. So when I say that the defense is the key to success, I don't mean
you don't mean the back line, yeah, no, I
understand. No, I don't. I'm not looking for a low back line. It can be in different phases, but hopefully just for short periods. Then I want a new pressure and a new approach on the game, and then we try to do everything we can to be aggressive and get the intensity in. And then we need a really short distance to the team and to all the players, so we can deny goals and we can deny chances against.
Yeah, is this also where you start to build, let's say, your playing style with the defense? Also, maybe in the start of the season, you emphasize more on that, or?
I think it's a little bit difficult actually to answer straight on the question, because for me it's both things.
Yeah.
But there's no doubt that if you ask the players, then they know that the key to success is defending. Yeah. The less goals you take in, the better chances you have of winning the games and also winning the competition. But it's actually from an attacking perspective. That's also why I say I want to go high. And if you see our 4 games in Europe this season so far, where we qualify for Champions League, then I think you will also see the approach that we have also in Europe, that we are high with everybody, with the whole team on the opponent's half, and trying to set the pressure. So it's just a matter of how you want to defend. Do you want to just defend the goal and put everybody behind, or do you want to defend with an aggressive pressure?
Okay, I understand. I think your physical capabilities of the team also really help in this approach. You have fast players, you have strong players. In every moment of the game, you have a typical player that can stand out. Maybe that's the case. Yeah,
for sure. Also, normally I don't like to give the physical coach too much credit, because I know him for many years, but he's done a good job together with the physios, making sure that everybody's fit and everybody's ready to play the game that I and we want to play. That's the most important thing, that the players can handle the load that we are giving them during the week, but at the end to perform in the weekends, because I expect a lot of high intense meters, and I expect a lot of sprint meters. Yeah. Okay. That's the most important thing for me regarding the overall distance, total distance in general. It's not so important for me. The 2 other aspects are the most important things, and then you need fast players, you need strong players. We're in a club where we have a really good relationship with an academy in Nigeria also, who have created some big players for us. And at the moment we got Frank Onyeka in the central midfield, who's been very dominant.
Yeah. Before we go into the transition, Ebo asks, is there a coach that inspired you for this playing style, or is there something that inspired you in this?
I think it's a little bit of everything. I've been so fortunate that I met a lot of coaches throughout my career, both as a player but also now as a coach. I also try to pick up different moments of inspiration all around. When it comes to the defensive play, for sure, my time in Copenhagen, even though it was short,
Yeah.
there's some things that I take along, for sure. And then I think sometimes when you watch international football, when you talk to your coaching staff, you suddenly start to develop your own coaching style also, and also defending style with the pressure. And I think in that way, Liverpool, for example, has also been some that we have looked up in at, and in some aspects.
Yeah. Is it because there are several youth coaches here as well watching? They of course use those role models for the youth players. Is it something that you do with your players as well? Do you use Europe's elite, which you are part of maybe a little bit as well, but use them as role models or examples?
Yeah, maybe not role models, but at least
Role models maybe more for kids, but yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But no, I think it's important that you try to do everything you can to give the players the tools that they need. I prefer our own clips, our own moments from the games or the sessions. We have a drone as well that record every session that we have. But sometimes it's also good to get inspiration from the outside. And when I changed the formation together with the rest of the staff in August 2019, we showed some clips from Liverpool, from Man United, in some of the formations that I was looking, and to get into the team, we changed the formation from 3 in the back until to 4 in the back. So we needed to give them some pictures on how we wanted things to to go through. And in that aspect, we use Liverpool and Man United.
Okay. Maybe a last word on the moments of transitions. What do define your team in these moments?
I think again, it's the directness that we have in the team, especially offensive. That when we win it, I expect that we run with full power forward. We try to hurt and exploit the opponents. At the moment, we have a fantastic squad at Midtjylland with a lot of individual players, high quality, but still trying to give them even better moments of decision. I think the season we just ended, even though we were champions, and then we left behind some goals. From lack of decision, and especially in the counters where we could have played the chances even bigger. So for me, it's the power, and then of course at the end, it's also about making the right decisions.
I noticed that every time you talk about your players, you start smiling. It's interesting. I think you really have a unique group this year. I think that's the way you react on your own words.
No, but they're the most important thing for sure. That's the players.
Yeah. Well, I think everybody agrees with it. Okay, let's move on. So when you look at your playing style, I think you already kind of somehow answered on this as well, but maybe more into details. What certain moments define the playing style? Is it you always? Are you always dominant, or is it do you let the qualities of the players determine also what could be a good choice for your team?
Yeah, again, I think it's a little bit in between. Overall, I am the head coach, and it is my responsibility to make sure that everybody understands and knows how I want to play and how we want to play as a team. So from the beginning, I try to set the pace, whether it's in the tactical aspect of the offense or the defense, and give them my thoughts. And then I know that the qualities of the player can always change some of the small things in my philosophy, which also it's okay. But overall, it's important that everybody knows the expression. That's why I turn back to it, that the expression, the behavior on the pitch is for me the most important thing. Then it's up to me to find the right players with the rest of the club, so we continue and keeping that expression, no matter what happens in the club and who we sell and who we take in. Then it's the same expression that we get. Then it's my job to give them the tools, offensively, defensively, so we get that expression.
Okay. So, by the way, in between, if people have questions, keep asking them, or maybe they are all silently listening to you. I don't know. But for instance, I can imagine you have now maybe 2-3 very fast players. It can be maybe attractive for you as well that you can defend a little bit lower, but your play well, I think you understand where I'm going, but
Yeah.
it could be attractive to defend a little bit lower, let them have the space, but that's not what you would like to do, and it's not what the club wants, I think.
No, it's both the club and I. That's not what we're looking for. Times has changed for Midtjylland actually, because 5 years ago we didn't have a lot of possession. We were not always the favorites. We won the championship in 15, which was our first championship, and I would say from then and until now, that's happened a lot with the club and also the philosophy and also with the style of play. And now we suddenly end up with having ball possession around 60% every time we play in Denmark. So we need to adapt and we need to get new tools. And I think that's also inspiring as a coach, that you need to figure out how to break down opponents that come low against us. Because you said it yourself, it's not our philosophy to stay behind and wait for the opponent to make a mistake. Right. You can do it in some aspects in few periods of the game, because you can maybe not pressure full time in 90 minutes. But a philosophy of where we're waiting for the opponent, I don't believe in it. And as I also said, it also comes down to the players that you have. I can't tell my guys that you need to stay behind today. We will wait for the opponent to make mistake, then they will look at me and think that I'm crazy. And that's the least thing you want to get from the players.
Yeah, stay true to your own style and philosophy. And
exactly. And again, it all comes down to the commitment to the players, but also the belief in the players that they have the quality to fulfill the roles, no matter who we play and where we play.
Yeah, for when you have success, it's relatively easy to keep focused or to keep sticking to your philosophy, of course.
Yeah.
And did you ever encounter a phase that maybe you weren't so successful and the playing style was not winning? And how can you, maybe you have an advice for the coach, how can you still convince or at least help your players to stay and to play within that style?
At the moment, I'm so fortunate that I've only,
like I said, you've been winning already for 5 years.
Yeah.
So this is
no, but I'm lucky that as a head coach, I've only been here for a little bit more than a year and a half, and we had a lot of success and we won most of our games. But one of the things that I took along from one of the previous coaches that I worked with is that no matter what happens, you try to stay loyal to your philosophy and your ideas, but maybe you change a few things, not a lot, but just what can I say? Just a few things in the formation maybe, but you try to keep the same aggression and the same behavior of the players.
So the expression is the same, but you can do something with the details that maybe can come out. The qualities of the players maybe are more efficient or more winning.
Exactly. Because that's the good thing when you have a large squad. You have a lot of good players with different qualities, and when you take out one player with one qualities and put in another one with different qualities, then you change the style of play just within a few seconds, without changing the whole formation and everything. But because the players are different, then you can change the way of playing quite easily. Because if you halfway through the league, for example, need to change your whole philosophy, your whole approach, then I think it will end up worse.
Yeah, so I think interesting advice. So if something is not working, maybe a player that seems equal but has a different characteristic can help you win, but your expression, your story stays a little bit the same, I think.
Exactly.
People are still very interested in the set pieces, Brian. So Robert is asking, we'll get to that for sure. Let's see where we are at. The formation, well, you kind of already told me in the introduction, you don't believe in a set formation, but Yeah. What is your belief in this on this subject?
Of course, at the end of the day, I think you have one formation which you think is the one that can help you short term and also long term. But at the end, I think the formation is it always floats during the game. At the end of the day, it all comes down to the players that you put on the pitch, and it's more a way of helping the players to understand your style of play and how you want to do things, how you, for example, want to start a pressure, or how you want to defend, or how you want to attack. But since I took over in August 19, we mainly played four in the back, and then two central midfielders, three offensive midfielders, and then a striker. Some games we changed the formation to three central midfielders across, and then three strikers up front. But again, the most important thing for me is the formation and how we try to do things. Because no matter which formation that we play, the approach is the same. The high pressure is the same. The whole mindset is the same. As I said, it can just change the style of play, who and which player that we start with.
Perhaps numbers are only in situations that you stop the frame. So once the ball is rolling, if the central defender steps into the midfield, maybe you have four midfielders instead of three. It's always fluent, like you said.
Yeah. Exactly.
It doesn't really matter that much what's on paper. It's on how you show it. But maybe you can take Jan's question. If you scroll down a little bit in the chat, I think you can see it still. I wish I could read it to you. I don't know how to.
Yeah. He's asking a bit about the advantages of playing 3-4-3 or 3-5-2, and what the best defense is when it comes to a 3-5-2, and why. So again, I think for me it's a difficult question to answer and give a simple answer, because at the end, it's how you as a coach see the play, and how your mindset is, how you want to attack and how you want to defend. For me, if I play with three in the back, I would take it from a defensive perspective. Then it's because I maybe want to defend a bit more and be a bit more compact, a bit more solid in the back, because often when you play with three, you end up with five in the back.
Yeah.
But that's just my philosophy. And if I could choose from the two formations that you write, Jan, if it's a 3-4-3 or 3-5-2, then if I need to attack more, I would go for a 3-4-3, because I would get my front players in better positions. I would have three strikers up front who can both pressure really high and early, and they will also find themselves in really good positions when we win the ball and when we steal the ball. So at the end, I think it comes back to the philosophy and how you want to attack the game. Is it from an attacking perspective, or do you want to make sure you don't concede goals or concede chances, or you want to make it compact for the opponents?
Okay, just to be clear, the images that we see are not yours. So these are random images, so people don't think that these are your formations. But people find this interesting. Vibes asks, do you analyze your opponents often before you adapt your tactics? So you say, okay, maybe I want to go a little bit more defensive style. Is it based on an opponent, or is it based on your team?
Overall, and that's also why it's easy for me to sit here and say this. We're one of the best teams in Denmark at the moment, and we had decent with success. So at the end, and often as possible, we focus on ourselves and try to make sure that no matter where we play and who we play, we do it our way. So because for me, everybody is comfortable with the style of play. Everybody know their roles. And then of course you glimpse at the opponent and see how do they set up their team, what's the formation, any key players, any aspects that we need to take care of, and maybe when we look at our pressure, how do we start the pressure?
Yeah.
Also is being determined a little bit of the opponent as well.
I can imagine for sure that you have, before you have, let's say, a rule that, okay, once their right halfback starts the build-up, we pressure with our center forward first, etc. Of course, that's all set and that's thought of. I think that's not only principles.
No, in some ways, because in some ways I'm also a bit pragmatic. I think it's called in English. That's I believe in keeping things simple and keeping it as clear as possible for the players. And it also comes down to who I am as a person, as a player also. I haven't been a coach for 30 years and working my way up through the youth and you know, experimenting with different things. I know as a player that they don't understand and know everything that I'm trying to give to them, because there's so many informations, and they pick up few things here and there. They don't see as much football as we in the coaching staff do. They don't see the opponent as much as we do. So it's about keeping it, you know, as simple as possible. That's my feeling. So when it comes to the offensive and defensive play, there are two rules in both ways. So we defend or we pressure. We either attack or we build up. And then the players in between there, they know some of my thoughts and some of the ideas, and then at the end, yeah, they have to make the decisions. They have to play football. They have to do what they do best, and then it's about sending the right signals to each other.
Yeah. So communication between the players is essential then, because you give them relatively a lot of freedom. We discussed Bielsa's style, that every meter is thought of. You are more of a counterpart. You have your principles. They know what you want to express or what the club wants to express when you play. And then it's the responsibility of the players to show this and to find the solutions and to be creative or dominant or disciplined. Let's put it like that.
Yeah, exactly. Because I like the word discipline, actually. The one you mentioned, and then maybe we'll get into it afterwards. But I really like that word because when you need success, then you need to have your discipline in every aspect in life, but also on the football pitch. You need to know your job, you need to know your role, and you need to do it 100%. Otherwise, I don't think that we'll get success.
Okay. Let's move on. Jesper asking about recruitment. We'll get into that later. It's kind of like they all read my thoughts when I was preparing this. Set pieces there, and role of data. Robert will also be a subject later on. Well, this is where we've all been waiting for. No, but yeah, because everybody knows the story. You already told me. I'm gonna steal this from you. But at least almost 1/3 of the goals is made by set pieces. Can you explain what's your philosophy on this of the club, etc.? Can you go into this?
Well, it's quite simple actually. I think as I said, I started as the assistant coach in 11, and was handed the responsibility for the set pieces at the former coach, and he and I had a really good relationship, and he is definitely one of the reasons that I'm also having the success that I have. I got a really good start in my coaching career, and he gave me the responsibility, as I said, for the set pieces and coming with inputs here and there. But we slowly started to bring in a really good culture. From day one, it gave me the time on the pitch to train, gave me the time in the meeting room with showing pictures of the set pieces of the opponents and our own as well. And
this was even before the data and Benham and Ankerson was really dominant, right? This was already then a philosophy of the club.
Yeah, it was already in 11, and maybe not a big club philosophy, but more a coaching philosophy from the head coach at that point, who knew that set pieces are important. And before he became a head coach, he also had the responsibility for the set pieces. So for him, it was important, and he saw the role that set pieces could have. And the impact the set pieces could have on the game. So he decided that this was a very important step for us as a team at that point, and we slowly developed it. And then when the new owner Matthew Benham came into the club in 14, then things started to accelerate, and we started to develop even more. And and maybe even develop a bigger club culture, not just in the first team, but also through the academy and setting up, different groups where we discuss the set pieces, also with the owner, also with Rasmus Angersen as well. So at that point, we really formed the culture in the club in 15, and then since then we took off and scored a lot of goals on set pieces the last 5 years.
Okay, can you maybe, if you want to share, how much time you spend on this? And you told me there is a coach that it is a very big part of his work, his daily work.
Yeah, for sure. No, at the moment and the last couple of years, we had a specific set piece coach doing the job on the pitch and inside in the meeting room and just the whole collaboration with the players as well. And he has a major influence in this aspect, because it's difficult to say how much time we spent on the set pieces on a regular basis, but it is for sure a lot of sessions on the grass, but also, as I said, meetings with the players, with the whole squad, with everybody. So everybody knows that this is very, very important. They see the output that we get, and the outcome also in points, for sure. So everybody knows that the set pieces is a crucial
average around 3 goals per game. Which one of them is a set piece goal? Is that kind of the statistics?
Yeah, I think actually we've been even better. I think it's been around 40% in more or less average the last 5 years, between 35 and 40%, I think.
Yeah. Okay. I think it pretty much answers the questions of Robert. And at the beginning there was a question as well. I think we went into this.
I think it's more. In many aspects, of course, we are doing really good on the set pieces, and it is crucial for us. But at the end of the day, I think it's normal. The more time you spend on something, on a specific topic in the football, I think exactly, the better you'll get. But at the end, it's about prioritizing also the aspects of the game, and for us it's important aspect, because we see the difference.
Is it also for the defensive side of the set pieces?
Yeah, for sure.
Because the offensive side takes the shine, of course, takes the glory and the goals, etc. But
yeah, exactly. But in that aspect, it's just as important. We saw last season what the defense can do for us. I can't remember the exact number, but I think we were maybe around 3 or 4 goals that we conceded on set pieces in
whole season.
Yeah, 36 games or something. So, again, the coach there, which was the other assistant who has the responsibility for the defensive set pieces, he did an amazing job of making sure that everybody defends well, and the goalkeeper, of course, is knowing his role.
Okay. I think a big part of your club. What I found very interesting, what I think was nice to hear, that before we went live, you told actually the club owner literally texts you with ideas, and he's in the WhatsApp group and thinking with you, which I think is pretty special story.
I think it
says something about the culture. I think. Yeah.
No, exactly. It says a lot about the culture. It says a lot about the owner. It says a lot about the environment that we have at Midtjylland. That everybody has a big role, and everybody has a responsibility, and everybody is part of it. It's not just me who's the head coach who decides everything. It's not just the CEO or the sport director, but we all have a voice, and then at the end everybody expects that somebody has to make some decisions, and everybody knows who's going to take the decisions when and how, but in between there's a lot of voices, and it just, for me, it makes it even better that you get a lot of input, you get a lot of thoughts, and then I know I have to make a decision, and that's how it is.
We'll get into the club DNA in the end. Coaching style. I shared. Well, I found a video which I thought was interesting to start with this topic. I'll show it to you.
First of all, if you did this before, was because your coach stole from me. It's my copyright in the exercise.
Jose splits his squad into groups and turns today's training session into a competition, one that he'll referee.
Okay, Okay, change.
It's a tried and tested exercise designed to bring the team together.
Pink, pink, yellow card. Pink.
Okay, a small explanation why I chose this video, because everybody knows Mourinho as the cocky, arrogant coach, but clearly he has a different side as well. And then I saw some footage of you, which were very intense, very loud, which we could all hear in the beginning, of course. But I thought there must be a side of you like this as well, because I think you already told us in the beginning. The team is everything, and yeah, you are part of that. You're not on top of it; you're part of it. So maybe you could go into your style as a human or as a coach.
Yeah, I think it's always difficult to, to say a lot about yourself and so on. But in general, I love football and I like humans. That's that's probably the main reasons why I'm here. For me, the football is an amazing sport where you get the individual part of it and you get the team feeling, which for me, as I said, is the most important thing. I always try to tell my players that just remember when you score a goal, what gives you the best feeling? Is it running alone to the corner flag, or is it jumping together in a group? Then I know the answer for me, and maybe we're different, but that's the feeling for me. I prefer running together with my whole team and celebrating with them, because that's what the team sport is all about, celebrating together. And then I like humans. I like different personalities. I like the different mentalities, and see if you can lift people and players into different levels than where they are, and try to have a finger in their development, which is the most important thing for me. And then the passion I think is what drives me and what should drive everybody, that the willing to win, the desire and the hunger to win, that is, that's what drives me and motivates me every morning that I go to the stadium.
Do you do anything to develop in this as well, to that you can interact with people better, that your coaching style develops? Do you invest in yourself on this part?
I think I try to talk to different people all the time and try to be inspired by others also, but in general I try to stay as loyal as I can to myself and keep in my own thoughts and my own way of doing things, because at the end of the day, the players, they have to believe me, and they have to trust that the things and the words that I'm saying is coming from me. And I think if you can do it straight from your heart, then it goes right in, and then they can like it or they dislike it. That's how it is. But at least they feel me and they feel who I am, and then I think they will also respect me even more if it comes, straight from the heart and not from somebody I maybe met or picked up or whatever. But I try to stay as loyal as I can to me and just doing the things that I feel which is right.
Yeah. You never have to act in that.
No,
way.
exactly. I think the players and everybody, they see through you. So it's important to be yourself, to be who you are, and do the things that you believe is the right things.
Yeah. Are there any specific ways in that you interact with players? Do you have for example, do you have maybe a schedule? I didn't talk to that player for a while, or is there any rhythm or way of working in working with players or talking to players?
Well, first of all, I like to talk to the players for sure, and I like to talk to all of the players throughout the day and the week. Sometimes, of course, it's difficult, but I really try to do my best that I make sure that I've seen everybody throughout the week in different aspects. It could be at the lunch, it could be at the breakfast, in the gym, on the grass, talking football, or just talking, daily life, girlfriends, wives, kids,
Yeah.
whatever. Because at the end, And that's also what I said in the beginning. It's the most important thing for me. It's the human side. It's the humans that I'm working with, and not machines and not computers. It's humans that I believe perform better if they feel comfortable, if they feel safe, if they feel good. Then I know I can squeeze out maybe a few better percentage.
Yeah. So, Ben, you already asked the question way in the beginning, based on the first movie that we saw. How do you create a great team spirit from the first 11 till let's say player 24? How do you get everybody involved for a long season? Again, maybe it's easy when you're winning, but still, how do you affect that process?
Yeah, I think it is difficult. That is the difficult aspect of the game, because in general, I try to make sure that everybody feels involved and everybody feels responsible for the results that we get. Sometimes I talk more to the players who haven't played in the weekend than the other ones, because I need to make sure that everybody is still motivated, everybody is still feeling, really good and believing in the whole thing, and also believe in themselves. So I think that's the most important thing, that no matter what, that you give the feeling that everybody is important, everybody has a voice, everybody has a big influence in the results that we get, not just by talking to them, but also to, acknowledging it to the other players. It could be the goalkeeper who's been sitting on the bench for 20 games,
Yeah.
giving him a feeling that he is important when we have meetings or whatever, because we're going to need everybody throughout a whole season. I don't know who. Maybe have an idea, but at the end it could be somebody else that I didn't expect that I'm suddenly going to need. So, and it's also just I like all the players with all the awkward personalities they also may have, but that's what I just find interesting, that we are all different, and that's you never know what you're going to get when you meet in.
Do you spend extra time extra time on explaining choices? If players, let's say, is a choice that maybe it's not very clear, do you explain everything to everybody? It's always open?
No, not always. I'm always honest to the players, and that's what I tell them. You will get my honest opinion if you ask, and sometimes I will also give it to you. You can like it or you don't. It doesn't matter that much for me, but at least you know what I feel and what I see, and then it's up to you to respond to it.
So you need proactive player. A proactive player gets an answer. A player that's passive doesn't.
Yeah, but it all depends. I also, as I said, I like to involve them, and sometimes I also like that they know what's going on and what I see and what I feel. But it's not that I after every game or up to every game that I give everybody an explanation. It depends on my feeling of the player and of the players, and also where the player maybe is. Does he need an extra explanation or what it is? Because at the end, the most important thing for me, and that's also what I tell him, you don't have to agree with me. I know you probably don't agree with me if I don't put you in the team, but at least you understand what I feel, and that you accept my point of view, and that you see where I'm headed and what I want. Then what happens from there is your choice. But I don't want players in my squad that don't know what I want with them.
Okay. Jesper asked, do you have a process or sit down when a youth player comes up from the U19? You take him apart. That's a different word. But you take him aside and have a quick word that he feels welcome, or is there something special there?
Yeah, for sure. I like, as I said, I like everybody, but I really like the young guys from the academy coming up, and also trying to give them the respect that I think they deserve, because they work really hard to get through from the academy, getting early up in the morning, a lot of session on the grass. Then I try to show them the respect that I'm happy to see them. I'm really looking forward to work with them, but also setting the demands from me to them. I think demands is very important, and that they know the demands that I'm expecting. But again, to give them a feeling that they are welcome and that they know that I see good things in them, and I'm really looking forward to work with them, and that together we can do it. But it's also their responsibility to make sure that they deliver and they perform.
Yeah, okay, clear. Question from Kankut: how do you profile and scout players. Okay, this also has a little bit something to do with the youth academy. Do you know what the mental profile or a profile a player has? Do you scout or do you develop this part of the game, or this part of the person actually?
We make personality profiles of all the players that are coming into the squad, and also at the academy. So we have four different profiles available, and how we can get a picture of how they are as a person. And of course you can use it sometimes as a tool, and which kind of person that the player is. Is he a bit more soft? Is he social? Is he always thinking different things and different thoughts? Is he structured, well organized all the time? Or is he a big winner who demands a lot from himself, but also his teammates and so on? So we have 4 different types of profiles, which helps everybody, I think, in giving a picture of the person. And it also helps me in some aspects when I give feedback to him. Then I know sometimes, do I need to be really tough on this guy, or do I need to say it in a different manner, or whatever? How can I help him best? So in that way, the personality profiles helps me and us a lot for sure.
Yeah, and especially when it is a youth player, probably because if he's a little bit, how do you say it in English, introvert, then you can maybe you have to spend a little bit more time with him in the beginning, and
exactly. And then I think at the end, I think it's also my feeling of the player, which at the end decides it for me. We don't agree when we discuss the players, the whole staff, and that's really good. But every time I meet a new person or a new human, then I read him in one way, and that's how I see him. But that I think it's the most important thing. So it's
there's no cards in your pocket. Okay, no, you first you go into your personal touch or your personal.
Yeah, exactly. It's the first impression and so on, and the more you work with him and you start to see his profile, you start to see how he's behaving, how he's adapting, and then you slowly add all the pieces to the puzzle.
Okay, I think it doesn't really, doesn't fully answer Ron's question, but it does have way, and we have a lot more to discuss. We said, okay, do you see through players as well? And yes, you do.
I think you do. I think we all do, because we all know that there are the different agendas from the players also. At the end of the day, they have one request, and that is to play.
Yeah. They like you as a coach if they play, probably.
often, yeah. And that's also, when people ask me, my ambition, do you want to be the best coach and so on? I think for me, I know I'm not going to be the best coach. I hope that some of them think I'm a good coach, maybe not the best, but a good coach. But at the end, that they see me as a person who respects them and who shows them the demands and the respect that they deserve, and treat them as good person. That then I know it's always subjective whether they think I'm a good coach or a bad coach. That's not so important for me. I know I'm doing a good job, and I know I'm doing the best that I can.
Yeah.
Some likes it, some don't. But at the end of the day, as I say, as long as they know what I feel about them and what I think about them as a player, that's the most important thing for me. Then they can agree or disagree.
Okay, clear. Danny had a question about the schedule. I'm going to park that one, or I'm going to ask the question all the way on the end. Wiebe has a question about the coaching style. We recently had some webinars about the style of coaching for both adults and youth players. Is your coaching style very explicit, or does your coaching, or does the drills today kind of force a way of playing? So you don't explicitly explain everything. So explicit or implicit learning.
I think in some aspects, of course, if it's a new drill, you need to explain a bit what your aim is with everything. As I said, I'm not trying to give them all the answers. I try to make it as clear as possible where we're headed and what I want. But how we get there is maybe not always the most important thing. I have a few principles which is crucial for me and which is important, but the rest, how we get there, is maybe not as important as it could be or should be. But I think it's important to help the players when they need it, and sometimes they as I said, they don't know as much as I do and we do, so it's important that they see my thoughts, throughout a drill or an exercise or whatever it is.
But the way the expression or the end result that you want to see is what you focus on.
Yeah, for sure.
Like you said in the defense, you're not going to say, okay, number 10, you move 15 moves forward, then the right winger comes in. You leave it a little up to the players. Okay, I want to pressure them when they build up. I want to pressure them halfway their own half. That's when we fight, and that's it. That's what you want to see.
Yeah, in general, because it's also simplified. Of course, there are some rules, and there are some how can I say it? Yeah, rules is probably the best word. They know how I want to play, and that's why I said I don't have 10 rules and 10 different things, because then it mixes everything up, and they maybe don't understand everything. So it's a lot easier just to say, if we talk about the defensive play, we either pressure or we defend.
Yeah.
When we pressure, then the players know we have 2 or 3 or 4 situations how we can handle it. But at the end, it maybe looks different from one game to another, but the expression is the same. And when we set the pressure, then the rest knows what to do.
Okay, clear. Okay, let's move on. Let's take this one a little bit shorter than because we have some club philosophy, I think, which is pretty interesting for everybody. And officially we have 3 minutes, but maybe I can ask 10 more minutes of your time.
Yeah, for sure. We'll go all the way to the end. Don't worry.
So the staff, you said one thing is very important. I think we have an impression on how you work and how you work with people. But you said before, okay, one thing I really like is that they're almost all former players. And I like to give out a lot of responsibility. So yeah, let's hear what you have to say about this.
Yeah, and for me they are crucial, because being a head coach is not a one-man job. At the end, yes, I make the decisions, I take the decisions, I set the course in all the aspects, but I need everybody go in the right direction, and also again, like the players, that they feel comfortable, they feel valued, they feel big responsibility. So in that way, I'm really fortunate that I have an amazing staff around me. We all know each other for many years. I had them when they were players, when I was the assistant coach also. So we know each other from a lot of years behind. Also, I see them probably more than my family. So it's important that off the pitch, at the hotels, at the training ground, that we have a good environment where we respect each other, and we at the same time can joke a bit, we can be loose, we can talk about different things. So it's not just about football, and that's probably one of the things that I pressure the most, is that we have a really good relationship to each other. We're honest to each other. We can really kill each other when we have to, and be tough and against each other. But at the end, we all know that we have the same common goal, which is to win. And that's why I like these guys really, really much, because we, in a lot of aspects, we think the same, but at the same time we are very, very different. And that's why we complement each other really well. And that's probably one of the keys to the success that we have as well.
On the pitch, how do you share the responsibility? What does it look like? Do you lead the session? Do you open the sessions? Or I know that the bald one with the beard leads some session, but how is the
It all depends on the days and on the drills, on the exercises, and so on. Christian with the beard, he's the assistant coach, and he's probably the one who's closest to me. We discuss a lot of things, and also talk a lot on the phone when we come back home, and so on. And he's responsible for the defensive part of it. He's doing a lot of the team meetings when it comes to a defensive perspective. Also a lot of the sessions on the grass. And he's for sure, he's one of the key factors also in it, because I need the staff around me, so the players don't just listen to me all the time, because then they'll get tired, they'll get bored when they hear the same stuff from me. And also our approach is different, so the players respond to different things and different aspects of the game, and that's also important. And in some aspects, especially during the game, I also need 1 or 2 minutes to sit down and just reflect about the game and what do we need and what we don't. And then I have Christian who can be on the players and can still motivate them and still keep them going and maybe help them in some aspects of the game. So especially him and I are quite close, but I could say the same about the other ones, because for me it's
not to point him forward, but it was of course an example.
Yeah, exactly. For me it's important that everybody feel, as I said, comfortable. They also feel a big responsibility for the success that we have, and I know they do, because they know the effort that they put into the job.
Yeah. Okay. Wiebe asks, is it a choice, or why did you choose for former players?
Yeah, I did. Well, when I took over in August, the staff was set, and our head coach, he resigned, and I was offered the job for a trial of 3 months. And during that period, I knew that this was the staff that I wanted to continue with. I think we had the possibility to bring in extra ones if we decided to, but I think we all looked at each other and were quite comfortable quite comfortable knowing that we could do the job together, all of us. And also I felt that I had the people around me that I needed, and I still have. As I said, the set piece coach is still young and still trying to develop as well, but he's doing an amazing job when you know that he's only been a coach for 1.5 years. So I think one of our strengths.
Sorry, yeah, go on.
Yeah, I think one of our strengths is that we all know each other so well. We know our weaknesses, we know our strengths, and then at the end we respect each other really, really well. And as I said, we can also be tough on each other. Me and Christian can have some big arguments, and everybody is being quiet because what's going on, but that's how it is. And at the end we find the right path again, and that's also one of the strengths, that we can be really tough on each other.
What I wanted to ask, if you would choose a new staff in a new club or whatever, would you then specifically go with former players, or it doesn't matter for you?
Yeah, I think it's different. At the end, it comes down to the quality of the coach, and it comes down to the quality of the person.
It's also what most people want to hear, because most people are not former players. Oh, my sound is gone. I'll take the earplugs out. Hold on 1 second. Sorry, can you hear me again? I cannot hear you again. My sound is gone. Hold on, let me put one slide ahead and fix the sound in between. Yes, I think I can hear you again.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you again.
Okay.
I think it had to do with my earplugs that are gone.
Okay. Yeah, now I hear you. Can you hear me again?
I can hear you, but I'm curious if people don't hear you anymore. Maybe while we were talking, people can...
Can you hear me, guys?
Let's see if they can hear you. Yes, we're back. Okay. Malfunction, but we're back. I didn't hear your last words, but were you finished with the story about the staff, or? Yeah,
no. For me, they are crucial. They're really important. and they have a big influence in the success that we had.
Okay, clear. Okay, let's go to the last part, which is more club focused. I have a small video. It's a Danish video, actually. It's a video about, I think, a show that the club made. But there are some features in it which I will explain later, and then we can tell the story, or you can tell the story about the club. So.
Har du hørt noget fra Kursava-lejren? Selvfølgelig bliver det også igen i år. Der ikke bare vinder turneringen, men vi vinder the dobbelt.
Så har Jakob forlænget sin kontrakt.
Look at the pitch. Muligt salg. Der er ikke noget på borget. Det ser ud til, at der kommer til at ske noget.
I don't like to surf, but I'm fucking happy. Because you guys can do so much better. We expect more.
Er vi done? Så er vinduet sgu lukket.
Det er usammenlignet. Det er en chipbold op, det er et aflæg, og vi er splittet.
Jeg synes rent faktisk ikke, du fortjener sådan derude.
Nej! Jeg gør det fuldstændig rigtigt.
Vi fik kraftedeme, hvad vi kom efter. The most important thing to bring this into the game is our mindset.
Okay, I think we saw a lot of features of the club. We saw Ankersen talking transfers. We saw you in the session. We saw maybe the culture playing cards, which he was also telling you the staff is coming together. We saw the players. We saw the fans. We saw kind of everything about the club. So what is the DNA of the club? What defines this club?
I think it's difficult to say just in a few words, but overall, I already said it. We're a lot of people in many decisions. So there's a what do we call it in English? There's a big team spirit overall in the club. Everybody is together. Everybody is important, all the way to the youth, to the academy, to the first team. That's probably the main thing that everybody is together about this club, and everybody has a big voice. Then we're hardworking. We're a club situated in Denmark where we don't have the biggest sponsors. We don't have the biggest network and so on, like in Copenhagen, for example. So we need to work really hard. And then we never quit. We never give up regarding development. We always try to improve. So right now, when we're on top in Denmark with a championship and qualify for Champions League, then we're already discussing, how can we be even better? And we're not happy with this. How can we do this again next year?
Okay. Sorry, to be fair, I just plugged in, so I didn't hear two sentences, but I think I have an estimation of what you were saying. Just to prevent that the mic is going into my speakers and we have bigger. Now I think we have better sound for the viewers again. Let's move on to the next slide, because this is what we talked about. So you talked about culture. Part of the culture is innovation. And the club really changed. Well, not really, but it changed, of course, when the new owners took over in 2015. What were the biggest changes, and what were the biggest innovations that you noticed in the past years?
I think, of course, when we look at the owner and his whole approach, then the biggest thing is, of course, the data, which is a tool for us when we make decisions. Football is a lot about emotions and feelings, but they came in with a different perspective when we first started working together, and getting some of the numbers from Smarters and the company in England. So it gave us different eyes on on the football that we were playing. So it was not just our feeling and our eyes, but it was actually from a statistic background and perspective, which sometimes is, not sometimes, but often is maybe a different perspective than the things and the obvious things that you just see when you watch a game.
Is the way that Smart Odds presents or looks at data, is it different than others? Because it's also a question of Dion, because you seem to be even better at it than other clubs.
I think, there are always different sets of data. If you look at XG, which is often used at the moment in football, then it all comes down to which,
for everybody.
Expected goals. It all comes down to which company delivers the data and how they measure it. So for us, we believe in Smartest and the data that they bring and how they do it, because it's based on millions of football games over the many years. So we have a good vision of their data, and that's the one we mainly look at. And then we have decided some KPIs that we are measuring our game on.
How does it look for you? So you had you have your game preparation, which you use certain data points. You have halfway, you have certain data points. Evaluation of the games, certain data points that you look at. What is the process there? What points do you look at this data, and how do you use it?
First of all, my feeling, the staff's feeling, is the most important thing for me. That's the main thing, because at the end we work with the players, we work with the style of play on the pitch. So that's the most important thing. But then sometimes, as I said, it's good to look at some numbers and see if your feeling actually is the right one when we look at it from a raw data perspective. So if we look at the crosses, for example, then it's obvious to see you get a number, and you get a number from set pieces, you get a numbers from open play deliveries, and then at the end, does it match your feeling of the game? So I could, for example, sit with a feeling after the game that we were really playing direct. We brought the ball a lot of times in the box, but then you get the numbers and you see, okay, it was actually less, or it was actually even better. And the quality that we got out of it was the number that we're looking for every time. Then it gives you an idea, okay, what happened, or what was actually really good in the game was that we had a lot of deliveries, but the output was not so good. Why was that actually so? And then you look at the pictures of the images from the game, and then you mix things together.
Yeah, okay. It could be, for example, you have a feeling during the first half, because I know during the halftime you have a lot of data sets available as well. Okay, I have the feeling that we're not using the crosses or too much, and then your average, for example, and then you can say, okay, normally we do 20 a half, but guys, we only did 10. So you need to be more focused on that part.
Yeah, exactly. Because as I said, and that is you guys who are used to standing on the sideline, you get emotional, you get into your feelings, and it's difficult to sometimes keep a cool head because your emotions are flying high. And when you get into a halftime, for example, then sometimes it's good to just to look at the numbers, and maybe you'll have a different opinion.
Yeah.
And sometimes I don't use the numbers, because at the end of the day, for me, it's the feeling that I have when I walk into the dressing room, which I think is the most important one. So my gut feeling in the stomach is also the one that I often take along, but it's sometimes good to get a data perspective, because then instead of going totally ballistic, for example, in a dressing room at halftime, then maybe you take off 10%. And you are maybe a bit more constructive in your feedback, for example.
Yeah, okay, I understand. Throughout the week, you take the data of a game and compare it to your other games and use it in the training sessions. Is that how it works?
Not really, actually. And the players, they rarely see the numbers, because they are so far away from it, and I don't expect them to have the same feeling that we do. So it's more a tool for us coaches to stay on the right path of the style of play and the philosophy.
To monitor your own vision or your own style. That's the way you use it.
Yeah, exactly. Because the numbers will add up if we as I said, we want to play direct. We want to play a lot of passes forward. We want to be aggressive in our mindset. But we can actually see in our style of play from the numbers that our PDA is going down, our repressure is going down. Then maybe we are not training good enough on the repressure, on the defensive part of the pressure. So, it's a good tool to make sure that you stay on the right path that you want.
Yeah. Okay, interesting. Okay, we can go into innovation more, but let's leave this for now. Last part of the scouting, and then we have some time for the final questions that I already asked. Well, you made some, for an outsider, maybe surprising transfers. Are you involved in this process? And what is the difference between maybe you, and why do you see this, and other clubs? They don't see this. At least that's what it seems.
Yeah, I think I'm always, involved in the transfers that we're making, both in and out of the club.
Okay.
So they always listen, and of course I have a voice. At the end of the day, they decide what to do. But of course, with all the data that we have available, they see different things than we maybe sometimes see, and sometimes the scouts also see. But at the end, everything is mixed together. So it's both the stats and it's also the eyes of a scout or a coach that makes the decision at the end.
Okay, clear. The picture there is a player from, I think, this third level in Germany.
Yeah. He was promoted with his team to the second Bundesliga this summer, but he used to play in the third Bundesliga.
Yeah, and now he could play Champions League. Maybe in 2 days. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And daily work is not influenced by scouting. I can imagine every day. It's more during the transfer periods and the windows, and maybe injuries can cause a certain decision.
Yeah, but it's I think it's obvious at the moment with all the scouts that the clubs have available. They spend every day on the reports, on watching players, watching some of the data that we have available also. So it's also a department where we are trying to expand and getting in new people who can help even more in the scouting department.
Okay, some last questions. Do you have a staff member like on top of the stands to help you that shows that looks into the game for you, that helps you?
Yeah. We have our analyst. He's sitting up there in every game, whether it's the Champions League or Superliga. We have our own camera during the game as well. So at halftime we can show pictures to the players as well if we need it.
So independent footage always.
Yeah, exactly. And we are in contact with them, all the way through the games. And sometimes he sees things, and sometimes we ask for specific things as well.
Okay. Well, Vannes asks, are you proud when a player moves on? We discussed this before we started. I think you know the answer, but yeah.
Yeah, no, it's for me, it's fantastic. I try to say to some of the players, of course, it's always difficult, the age and so on that they have, but most of the players, they are not supposed to be at Midtjylland for more than a couple of years. Then we need to sell them, and they need to go to bigger address in Europe, and that's my objective, and that's also their players, their wish. So I'm really happy when they're being sold, especially when they go to the right club, in my opinion, and they take the right step, in my opinion.
So you see yourself as a stepping stone into European elite. That's, I think.
Yeah, no, for sure. Again, it all comes down to the league that we are, and of course, Midtjylland, we try to be a bigger player in the European football than we are at the moment, and try to fight with some of the other leagues in Europe. But at the end of the day, we know that if there's a player who's big enough for the bigger leagues, then we cannot keep him. Then for me, personally, it's better to let him go and say thank you, and we're really happy that you were with us for a couple of years, and we were part of your development, and then we wish you all the best of success. Hopefully we get a big transfer, and then we start again.
in that case, your story is a little bit comparable to Ajax, which are a little bit some steps further, of course. The league in the Netherlands is a little bit bigger, but they have the same identity of growing players and helping them into Europe's elite, actually. So, yeah. Okay. I think it's time to finalize, Brian. I think everybody had a lot of chances to ask you questions. Before we end up, what we discussed about this is not coming from your pocket, but we're gonna give everybody that was watching this webinar a discount on a next webinar. So use the code that we made for you, €5 off, and I will email it to you to everybody that is watching or that's going to watch the replay. Because in the end, almost 200 coaches signed up for this webinar, which I think is pretty special. It says something about you as well, and about the style of the club, and it's getting to know more and it's getting more famous more and more. Everybody knows the story about the data and about set pieces, as you noticed. We will follow up in an email, and I will send everybody the link to the replay. Is there one last thing that you wanted to maybe say to the coaches, or before we go offline?
I think it's difficult just to say the right words. First of all, as I said, also I'm happy that you contacted me, and I'm happy to try to give something back to football and to a lot of new coaches maybe, and also coaches sitting out there and trying to improve. I think it's important. As I said, I know I'm not the best coach in the world, and I know I don't know everything, but I'm happy to try to let you know some of my thoughts, and then at the end, it's up to you guys to do what you do best and take what you can use.
Okay, well, thank you very much that you were here, Brian. Thank you very much for your precious time. Like you already said, you're playing 8 matches in 25 days. And maybe to answer the question real quick, it's only maintenance that you can do, only game day -1. Is that the way you can train in these days? Traveling training and games. It's only the only thing you do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So,
exactly.
That answers the final question, which I didn't do yet. So that makes it even more special that you found the time to be here. So thank you very much again, and well, hopefully we can do this again, and then maybe you can tell the story of how you performed in the Champions League later on. Okay, guys.
That would be a pleasure. Thank you very much. Enjoy the evening.
Thank you very much, guys. Okay, bye-bye.